I want to talk about something that's super important but really hard to talk about. It's about kids. If you're following what's happening right now in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the ICE agents, the ICE raids, call it what you want to, it's Operation Charlotte's Web. It happened over the weekend. You can watch videos of people chasing down these ICE agents, trying to impede them from doing their job, picking up convicted felons, misdemeanors, all kinds of people that should not be in this country. They got all these videos and it's horrific if you're actually watching it. But here is the bad. This is not the video for that. I'll just warn you right now. I have other videos about that kind of situation. This isn't it. I want to talk about the kids. What's happening right now in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District. November 17th, 20,000 kids didn't show up to school. It's blown out of proportion. That's my foreshadow warning. But oh my goodness, the news reports coming out, these kids are so fearful, they couldn't go to school, there's no way they can concentrate, they're living a life of fear. And my problem with that, number one, these are kids. These are kids that should live in innocence. We're talking from elementary, middle, and high school. These are kids that should know everything about what's going on and what the bad things mom or dad did. But all right, let's start from where we're at. Because I already foreshadowed, maybe I even gave it away, what we're going to look at, which is the truth, okay? The Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District. It is the second largest in the state. It's about 145,000 kids, give or take, between 145 and 147, about 185 different schools, okay? It is the 18th largest in the entire country. Now, how it breaks down, as far as race goes, 30.6% are Hispanic or Latino. 34.6 are black, 23.6 are white, 7.2 are Asian, and the rest of the percentages are everyone else that kind of doesn't fit those totals. But here's the important thing you need to understand. Roughly 40% of all students qualify for economically disadvantaged. These are school lunches, these are dental programs, these are transportation issues. But 40% of our students in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District are disadvantaged economically. Now, if we're going to look at the academic performance, 48% of the kids are reading at the level they should be. 52% of the kids are doing math at the levels they should be. The district is in the bottom 50% of North Carolina school districts, and the graduation rate is 84%. And 84% doesn't sound horrible, but is that enough for our kids? Are we doing our best for them? Now, the school board is governed by 9 members, 6 elected by districts, 3 at large. Okay. Breaking it down per student, they're paying $11,781 per student. So here's the question. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let's round down to $11,000 per student. How many of those are illegal? How many of those students should not be in that school district that the taxpayers are paying $11,000 per student? Now, if you live in the area, if you live in Charlotte or Mecklenburg County, put it in the comments and let me know your feelings about it. So I was watching this other video about some parents that were out there and they're watching the schools. It's a bunch of moms and they're watching the school buses come home and they're supposed to protect the kids from ICE. It made me laugh, but at the same time, I'm like, no, you guys, you women are idiots. And it's just looking at that like you're not going to protect these kids from ICE if they wanted. But ICE is not looking for the kids. There was no arrests. There was no approach to any of the school districts at all. So another thing they should not be worried about. Okay. Absenteeism, chronic absenteeism is missing 10% or more of the school year, about 18 plus days. So when I said earlier about the numbers, about 20,000 kids missed school on Monday. 20,000, which is roughly 15% of the students. You need to understand chronic absenteeism is actually 32,000 students or 22% of the population. 22%, not 15, 22% are chronic absentee. Now, realize on a regular school day in this county, in this school district, 8 to 10% of the kids miss anyway. That's for doctor's appointments. They're sick. They have to travel. 8 to 10%, which is roughly 11,600 to 14,000 kids miss just because they just miss. So when you put the numbers of 32,000 kids on the low number, 11,600, 20,000 kids doesn't sound that bad because they skip school on Monday. The chronic absenteeism throws a routine right out the window because these kids need to have a routine. They need to go to school. They need to interact with their peers. We're living through this COVID generation who now is kind of going through high school. If you remember that, they missed a few years or they had to wear the masks around their mouth. They missed all those years, so they can't really talk to each other anymore if they're not on their phone texting. That's the importance of what school does. Learning subjects is important too, but I really think it's getting out there and actually just mingling and going and having a timetable and a schedule and getting to class and listening to authority. There's so many things that go in school that these kids have to do it. So they skip one day because they can and it's accepted and they're going to be famous because they missed the day because all the videos of them playing and doing all whatever they wanted to. But there's 22% of them chronic absenteeism. And I think that's the biggest thing we need to look at. Now, I realized that Charlotte is such a hub for illegal immigration because it has these corridors. They call them just immigrant-heavy corridors, ways to get around the country. And they kind of just stop there. And considering, it goes Hispanic, Black, and then white, I mean, there's acceptance everywhere because there's so much diversity there. So looking at this whole thing, it pains me because these are kids and I think they're losing their innocence because they're so worried about what the parents are going through. Now, when mom and dad fight, it happens. When mom and dad don't have a lot of money, maybe the kids don't even notice because they just don't know the difference. But putting them in the fear of saying, hey, this could happen, I think the parents should do better. If the parents are illegal, you need to rectify that. You need to figure out legal immigration and be able to become a citizen. If you can't do that, there's probably a reason. There's probably a reason. I'll say it again. You need to figure out. Now, if you've been a convicted felon or have too many misdemeanors, the United States doesn't want you anymore. And I'm sorry that that's the way it is. But you're looking at the fear of your kids' eyes. That's more important than anything else. And I think our students need to do better. So anyway, again, it's a hard topic. Put your comments in there. I'm sure there's going to be lots of comments saying, oh, no human is illegal and all those things. But the point is, take care of our kids. Do better than 48% of them not being able to read or only at the reading level, 50% not. And just get them to school because it's so important. So anyway, when someone out there yells, 20,000 kids missed, this is terrible, this is awful, just know there are other problems going on. And that's the truth between lines. Between